Hello and welcome to class. Today happens to be May the 4th, 2021, and so we're inspired today by feeling the force of our bodies, of nature, of life, and we're going to use that exploration of energy to help us to just go a little deeper into our connections, release a little more tension, and explore a little more fully. So we're going to have a few props on hand to help us do this exploration and workout. We're going to use a roller, a foam roller, and then if you have it, this is a foam ball. I think it's 8 inches, and it's totally optional. You don't need to have this, but if you do, I'll guide you through using it. You can replace this with another ball of similar size and sort of density, but in a lot of cases, the roller is going to be something that works just as well. So I'll talk you through all of that. But to begin, I'd like you to just set your props aside and just come to a kneeling or seated position, anywhere that's comfortable, and arrive with your eyes closed. And just take a moment to feel into the experience of being. Rather than thinking about your body and naming the parts, really just see if you can feel the sensations. Sensations are kind of formless. They're more fuzzy and shapeless. And you might feel some sensations a little more loudly than others, right? There can be a calm softness to one area in the body, while another area is a lot more sort of loud, and the buzz is a little stronger and sort of less easy to ignore. So as you feel all of it, see if you can do just that. Let the loud be loud. And then while still listening and being aware of that loud experience or that stronger sensation, see if you can invite your other sensations into your experience all at once. So the whole being is being felt all at once. The tight, the dense, the soft, the loose, the sore, the relaxed. And then just noticing those places that are loud. In the seated position, it's not necessarily going to tell us as much as if, for example, we were standing. We might get a little more information about our posture. But if you have some tension in your low back or some sort of loud sensations in your shoulders or neck, those are things that we'll just want to observe so we can remember when we're done to sense them again and see how we're doing. So go ahead and open your eyes if you haven't already, and we're going to move into our Z-sit position, which is how we would start and set up for mermaid, which is what we're going to do. We're going to move our roller out of the way, and then we're going to use the ball. It is not essential here, but it's just something we're going to invite friends that have it to use to explore a little deeper. We're going to use the ball. We're going to take it into our left hand and reach the arms wide into the sides. Turn the left hand and ball to the mat, and then land it down as we side bend to the left. We'll use the ball to increase our stretch by letting our hand roll atop the ball over in that direction. You could just walk your fingers along the mat just as easily. And then bring yourself back up. We'll pass the ball through the center, land it down on the right side, and then you can roll it, walk it all the way out into a nice long line. Press into the mat or ball so that you get the engagement underneath. We'll take the ball again through the top and over to the other side. And again, using that rolling surface to help invite the body to move a little more deeply. And always listening for what your body needs. If it doesn't need more, then you don't need to push for more or reach for more. I just want you to become better and better and better in practice of listening to what your body needs, and you'll be able to be so much, such a much more powerful advocate for your own wellness. And I know you already are. That's something that you've been practicing. So this is just an invitation for that practice to continue to grow stronger. We're flowing, we're finding that energy. We're going to come over to the left side again and stay for a moment. And then we're going to take a little journey around the circumference of this sort of circle we're at the center of. So we'll walk the ball with the left hand around that circumference, and we're going to start to reach for it with the right. And by reaching for it with the right, we're twisting. And we're going to twist into a sort of a curvy stretch that's a twist and a flex. And we're going to reach and reach and reach. And finally, once our right hand can find the ball, now we're going to share, and we're going to keep reaching the ball as far out from center as we can without strain or losing connection with the mat. And then we're going to just kind of walk it over. If you're not using a ball, you're just walking your hands over, and we're going to go off to the right, not necessarily all the way, just to kind of a diagonal from that right hip, and then we'll come back. We're just going to do this past one time. Reach, rolling the ball as far out from center, taking their spines and our lats into some long gooey lines, and then roll back to your side stretch, and then come up through center. We're going to switch sides now. We'll take the feet to the other side, and then open the arms wide. We'll pass the ball up through the center over to the right, and side bend right, and then find that flow back and forth, moving as energy. So as before, we're going to try to let the additional prop of having that ball encourage a little bit more movement in your stretch. Whereas if you aren't using the ball, your fingers can kind of just walk their way out along the mat, offering you that little extra length, extra space. So our bodies, as you know, are made up of atoms, and atoms are, after looking more closely with even finer microscopes, turns out to be mostly empty space. So it's just an interesting thing to consider while you're being a being in space, and seeing if you can feel into the space inside your body and create more of it. And then let's bring the ball, actually we're going to stop to the right, so I'm already on my way left, and you guys can follow along or pause when you get to the right side next. And we're going to roll into it. Stay there, take a big breath into that left side, and then begin to roll the ball forward and bring the left hand around to meet it, and just reach for it for as long as it takes for that ball to come into your grasp. Once you find the ball with the left hand, we'll continue around the circumference of this big circle and let it go bigger. Let the ball roll away from you as much as you have room to, as you come all the way over to sort of just off the coast of that left knee. Breathe as you move. Keep inhaling fully to create space, and then exhaling to create softness and release. The ball's coming back. We're really rolling into a twist, and then we'll unfurl and come up through the center and arrive where we started. Okay, we're going to take this same ball and move it into a rolling massage position. If we don't have the ball, this is where your roller is going to come in. We'll bring both feet out in front of us, and we'll lift up on to our hands and feet to get at the ball underneath. I'm going to start with the left glute, as you would on the roller. So you can go ahead and use your hands and your feet to support the weight of your body, and then carefully just drop as much weight into the ball as feels good and makes sense. And then we're going to massage. And one thing that is really awesome about this ball, if you have it, just so you can kind of appreciate what we've got going on here, is that it can go a little bit more specifically into certain places. So, you know, we have smaller balls we've used to roll the glutes, and those are really specific. And then the roller on the larger side is a little more sort of broad, and it's pressure to your glutes. And so this is somewhere in the middle. So it's just a nice alternative. And I love how portable it is. It'll come with you just about anywhere if you're packing for a trip. This one always goes in the suitcase. So what you're going to do is just pay attention to what you feel on that left side. We have, you know, tightness, we might call it, or tenderness, or just a general sense of pressure, and that's our muscle fibers. And there's a density sometimes that we're going to massage out of there, shifting the energy. So there's like some whole held energy, like a ice cube is water, you know, in a more static form. And we're going to try to release it and melt it. So I'll let you decide when it's time. We're going to do both sides. You can hop over to the right whenever you're ready. And it's always interesting to notice what's different, if you have any differences from side to side. And just try to cover the whole surface of your glute, right? Really go ahead and let that be an exploration just as much as, you know, a task to do. See if you can really be curious and feel what you feel and listen to what your body has to say. You know, if it's really asking for more of something, you might really find that by paying attention, and then you can deliver. And if it's saying, you know, this isn't really feeling comfortable, maybe we can actually switch to the roller because it's a little less intense, perhaps. So you could just do as your body is letting you know. Okay, so once you've done a thorough job to both sides, we'll just hop down off of the ball. And we're going to move now to our knees. And for this, we're going to come up to a high kneeling. Again, with the ball, and it's not essential, so carrying on as if you had it will work just fine here. We're going to take the ball to our right side and place it against our thigh on the right. Press your palm flat into the ball, and then shrug your shoulder up the side of your body. The side of your neck and spine, and then lower it back down. As you shrug, press into the ball. As you shrug down, especially press into the ball. So you're going to do that a couple of times, just enjoying the energy of movement in the shoulder and the awakening of some of the muscles around there, the upper traps and the serratus. As your shoulder comes down, see if you could just allow gravity to help you feel it down, but the pressing into your midline is going to be where the good stuff is. And then you're going to take your left arm up to the sky, take a nice deep breath in, and on the exhale, shrug that right shoulder down more as you roll the ball down the side of your leg, pressing into it, side bending over to the right. Inhale up. Same side, we'll flow over. Press into the ball and keep your thighs meeting the ball. So instead of letting them sort of fall away, keep them right over your knees. And rise up and over and up. We'll take the ball to the other side. Take the left hand with the ball to the thigh. Let your shoulder first move. We'll press into the ball as we lift the shoulder up. Press into the ball as we feel it fall to the earth. We'll just let it fall. So we're working on the way up and then releasing on the way down, pressing into that left thigh. And then we'll take it down, reach the right arm up, and then continue to roll the ball down the thigh as we side bend over to the left and right back up. Staying active through the left side, pressing the left arm into the midline is going to help us awaken again some of those connections that are a little deeper than if we just fall into gravity. So we're recruiting under the armpit into those serratus muscles that help us to access the power, the full power of the oblique slings. And if these words aren't meaning anything to you, that's okay too. You're just getting a nice active stretch and then come all the way up. Okay, we're going to take our ball, set it aside, and now swap out for our roller. Okay, so we're going to take that same work to the back of our body with the roller. You're going to take the roller behind your sit bones and then the arms behind the roller, and we're going to let that draw the arms back and all the way up to the top of the arms, draw the shoulders back. And then in the lower half of the body, we want to make sure our hips come right over our knees, and then lift up on the abdominals and pull up on the front of the pelvis to keep that low back from arching. And then we're going to just start by bending the elbows. As the elbows bend, your roller will roll up the back of your sacrum and back down, and you'll find the roller moving from underneath your wrist into your palms, perhaps your fingertips. You can play with where you're holding the roller for comfort. We're using this to invite a little stretch into our chest, opening up the shoulders in the front, and then really drawing the elbows back to encourage even more space there. So feeling the energy of the chest get a little more open, a little more spacious, taking away density. And then in the back of the body, feeling the arms as they connect into the roller, into the spine, create energy between the arms and the spine through the back of the body. So we've got muscles that gather your shoulder blades together, feeling connection, and your triceps and biceps working as well. And then we'll let the roller come back down, finishing there, and move it to the front of the body. Now we're going to press the roller into the front of the body. We'll take the palms facing towards the spine, shoulders still back and down, lifting up through the top of the head, and then we're going to press into the roller, nod the chin, and start to roll the roller down the front of the thighs and make our way into a sort of partial roll down. The roller will get, perhaps midway on the thighs, the fingertips might find the mat, and then we're going to just reverse it. Press the arms to the roller and press your thighs into the roller as well. So both sort of surfaces are trying to compress the roller together. And we'll roll right back down. And we'll roll right back up. Massaging the front of the thighs, bonus, and really activating the integration of the arms into the rest of the body, feeling the way your arms kind of energetically sort of connect into the power of your abdominals and your trunk. And then we'll press to come back up. Let's do that 2 more times, rolling down, feeling the stretch that we are invited into through the back of the body as the front activates and integrates, feeling space between the shoulder blades, a little space in the low back, and then roll right back up. And one more time. Rolling it down. As you come low, you can just release the roller to the mat and then bring your knees onto the roller. Place your hands on the mat and find your all fours position. With your knees elevated, you'll have a little bit of a different experience in the rest of your positioning. So we'll go ahead and enjoy that for the moment. You're gonna let your spine lengthen out from head to tail and then simply sink the chest and then push into the mat to lift up. We'll do our sternum drops here, allowing the spine to lower and rise, and then tune into the energy around the arms and shoulders. See if you can actually mentally shift the energy from your neck, so efforting around the neck and chest, and see if you can bring the energy down into the sort of band of muscles that wrap around the rib cage from underneath the shoulder blades to the front of your rib cage. So if you've ever sort of seen somebody with cracked ribs at the very best, they get sort of wrapped, right? They could have a bandage around their low ribs. We're going to sort of power on that band, that wrap around the rib cage to feel the power of the arms integrating into the rest of the body. Then from here, we're going to lift the toes off of the mat. We're going to lift the bottom ribs up and round the spine into our cat stretch and hold there. Breathe into the back ribs. And on your exhale, you're going to roll the knees forward, lifting the knees up towards your belly button. Inhale the knees back. Exhale, look towards your belly button. Lift the knees round in and inhale back out. Exhale, round and lift. Inhale out. And again, push the mat down. Lift the bottom ribs. Feel that energy of rising up out of the earth, out of gravity. And last 2. And last 1. And then we'll come back, land the toes, and come carefully back off of the roller. Okay, we're going to make another swap. We're going to use the ball once again. Unless you don't have it, you'll stay with the roller. We're going to use it for massage purposes again. We're going to roll the front of the thighs. So let's start on the right side. You'll come all the way down, place the ball maybe right in the center, right under the sort of belly of that right thigh. And you'll have to use your arms a little bit more, and perhaps the other leg. I'm going to bend my knee and set it out to the side. It allows me to steer a little better. And we'll go up and down the front of the thigh. And then having started in the middle, you might have discovered already some interesting stuff. I'm going to have you turn your knee out and turn your knee in, just to sort of explore what that offers you. And the ball is super awesome for this, but it does require a lot of sort of maintenance. You'll have to adjust it every so often. And we're going to move it a little lower. So if you haven't already gotten down by the knee, you'll place it now not on or atop the knee, but just above. And then again, roll along those muscle fibers, north and south. But then also turn the knee in, turn the knee out, and let that invite you into the muscles that live more to the outside and the inside of the thigh. And then final position, we're going to bring the roller or the ball up to the upper quad where it meets the hip and pelvis, right? So we're going to put the ball right up near the pelvis and massage. And I like to focus on the outside hip flexors, including the TFL. We'll get that zone that's out near the outside of your hip, and then move towards the center. And just notice what your body needs. Some areas are going to be more tender than others. And so we're just going to read that experience and use it to make good decisions. And then we'll kind of make our way to the other side when you're ready. So as I said before, whatever your body needs, you can sort of listen and apply. If you want to stay longer on that side, you're welcome to. And now we're on the center of the second quad if you're following along. And then we're going to just explore in the same way. Turn the knee in, turn the knee out. Good. Today this left leg is a little bit more tender. So we're going to go ahead and try all the positions. Low by the knee. And high by the hip. And take your time. As we've been exploring so far in class today, paying attention to the energy of the body. If you think of the tightness in the muscles as another form of energy, you're trying to shift and stir it up. Most things become a little bit more fluid as they heat up. So you're also adding a little friction and heat to that region. And that warmth can help to add a little bit more of a liquid quality to our bodies where they are working and feeling stuck. So if you're done, go ahead and set that ball out of the way. We're going to move the roller to the mat now and bring it out in front. We're going to come all the way down onto our tummy and then pause before we engage with that roller. We're going to fold the hands under our forehead and reach back for a quad stretch. You can start on the right side. Flex that hammy and draw the heel in. And then we're going to press the hips down into the mat. Engage through the back of the body to smash the mat down. You're going to press your pubic bone especially heavily into the mat, and then lift your abdominals as if you could sort of hover your bottom ribs away from the mat. And keep reaching through that right knee, stretching that right quad. We're going to try to bring the energy down. In our glute, there's a lot of glute muscles and there's a lot of different zones that can be active. I want to bring it from low to, or high to low. So right where that little smile line is, at the base of your cheek, see if you can connect into that region just a little bit more. And really sort of build that heat over the course of a few breaths. So we'll call these your cheeky smile muscles. And we're really trying to put that smile into a big fat grin. And then we'll just come out of there, release the leg, rock the heels back and forth, and then switch to the other side. Take your pelvis into focus again, press into the mat, make it nice and heavy. Steer the pubic bone down, lift the bottom ribs, and then feel where you're active, feel where there's energy and work. The big sensation of stretch might also be a loud sensation, but see if you can feel the work in the back of the leg, back of the hip. And then bring that energy down from high to low into the base of the pelvis, down where the little smile becomes a big grin, and it's getting hotter. We're gonna melt some tension and also create power, heat, energy, and then release. And then we'll lengthen the legs out long, rock the heels, rock the hips, and then take your arms outstretched over the roller, starting with the palms facing in, thumbs up to the sky. Legs can be separated, really active and long, and then create that same engagement down through the base of the pelvis, right at where your cheeky grins are. Lift your abdominals, and then see if you can feel your bottom ribs hover, not even off of the mat, but just lighten. Shrug the shoulders up to the ears, and then shrug them down and press into the roller. Let your shoulder blades come towards the mat, and then start to roll the heart forward and up, moving into a little mini swan. Inhale, lower back down, and again exhale, connect into your grins, your cheeky grins, and reach your heart forward. Use the legs to give a levity to your spine. Inhale, lower down, remembering too, as we pressed the roller into our bodies earlier, that integration, so feel the arms pressing into the roller help you to integrate down into your waist. The arms connecting into the muscles of the trunk. Legs active, cheeky grins bright. And down. One more time, pressing, reaching, and then lower down. We'll take the hands to the mat, push up and back to all fours, and then we're going to take the roller towards the knees. We're going to step the right foot over the roller and set it out in front of the right hip, and then do a little inchworm with the toes to get a little further out than the knee. What we're going to do is create a flowing lunge stretch for our hips. So we're going to start by bringing the hands up to the front knee, leveling the hips by dropping the right sit bone down, and then lifting up on the front of the pelvis, keeping the weight back over the left knee for now. We're going to lift up on the front, feel that cheeky grin on the left, and then bring the hips forward. Bring the whole pelvis forward so the pubic bone really comes forward as well. Otherwise, we're going to really arch through the back. So pubic bone forward, and then reach the arms up to the sky, feeling into this stretch down the left side of the waist and thigh. And then we're going to bring the hands to the roller and rock the hips back, flex the heel, and stretch that right hamstring. Pull the toes back. Then we're going to rock forward. The roller can come with. Reach the arms up. Exhale, hands to the roller, and we rock back. You could do this without the roller for sure. We're just using it to help our hands support us in a fluid way. Exhale, rocking back. One more time, forward, and reach, and back, and flex. Come back to the start. We're going to step the right foot, hold on to the roller as you do, a little wider. Mine's even going off the mat. Then you can turn your knee and toe out a little bit to the right. The roller is going to kind of find its way into the right position for this one. We're going to take our weight forward towards our right heel. Let our pelvis be slightly rotated to the right, and then reach the arms up as we kind of lunge on the diagonal. And then rock back on the opposite diagonal towards the left knee, but we're going to go even maybe past the left knee a little bit. So you're going to stick your booty out to the left. It can go beyond the shin and knee. And then lunge towards that right foot. Lift up Adding some angles, some diagonals to our stretches just helps us to sort of practice in a balancing way for all the things we do on a daily basis that keep our sort of hips tracking in a straight line forward and back, like walking, but also to release tension for things we do like sit with one leg folded under our hips. And then we'll finish there. We'll just climb out of that position, bringing our knees together, move the roller back to center, and step the left foot forward, right in line with the hip, but a little further out. Then we'll come up, level our pelvis, practice lifting up on the front of the pelvis, finding that cheeky grin on the right side, and it's gonna get stronger as we come forward, that energy under the buns. And then reach the arms up, inhale, get long, exhale, rock back, find the roller, reach that left sit bone back in particular, stretch. Inhale forward, reach up, find the cheeky grin on that right side, and then rock back, fold, and stretch. Now that whole right side is long, and we rock, and reach, and press, and fold, and then come through center. We'll just pause, step the left foot out wide, turn the knee and toe out slightly, angle the roller on a diagonal. Our pelvis will turn towards that left toes, and then we'll rock in that direction. Lift the chest, lean into it. Feel your glutes more on the outside of that right hip. And then as we rock back, bring the right hip beyond the knee and shin on that right side. Fold over that left thigh, and then reach and rise. Feel your diagonal stretches, and fold over, and rock, and reach, and fold back. Okay, and then we'll come back to the start. Bring the knees together, roller out in front. If you have a ball, any ball, you might tuck it between your inner thighs. Not mandatory, just optional. And then let's tuck our toes under here and find the roller with our hands. You're gonna hold it on either end and find that engagement inward, pressing into the roller that integrates the arms into our trunk. You'll feel that engagement under the armpits and down the sides of the waist. And then we're going to fold at the hips, sit back towards our heels, and then bring the hips forward and press the hips towards the roller as the roller presses into the body. So we're folding the front of the hips, and then we're opening the front of the hips, using our cheeky grins to connect as we come up. Now, since I already started this image using the smile and the grin, when we first come up to this place, what we're going to call neutral at the top, we're not arched and we're not tucked. We're just lifting up on the front of the pelvis, securing that position with some power under the here, but we're not doing a tucky tuck, right? Our tail isn't going down through the legs, but lifting up, you're going to feel some energy there. So we're having, we're smiling. It's a big smile. And then what we're going to do is reach the arms forward, and we're going to start to move into a thigh stretch, letting the pelvis tilt with us as we lean back, so the pubic bone stays forward. And as we get deeper into it, you'll feel more and more glutes. The smile becomes a grin, and then come up. And again, we'll lean back. If your knees aren't happy here, use the ball and then perhaps maybe some padding. You might also feel a little different, perhaps better, perhaps not, with your toes untucked. So choose based on what feels right in your body. You can keep the roller, but we're gonna use some awareness through the body. I'll cue with my hands, lifting up on the front, down on the back, grins under the buns, and then chest open. Feel your bottom ribs move back with you as you lean. And last two. And last one. And then let's land the roller down. Take the ball from between your knees, and we're gonna set the roller back underneath our knees, but really we're gonna bring the roller under our ankles as we land the knees down on the mat. So start with the roller right under your ankles, and then we're gonna take our hands And then our forearms to the mat, come into a all fours position, but with our elbows supporting our shoulders. You can keep the palms down and the forearms parallel, or you can interlace your hands and draw yourself into a sort of internal rotation through the shoulders. Lift your chest up and draw it forward. And then from here, we're going to lift the bottom ribs and keep lifting as you flex the spine, rounding your head and tail towards the mat. Take another breath into that spaciousness of the back of the body. And on the exhale, you're going to lift more and lift the knees off and lengthen the legs out to straight. We'll inhale, pull the knees in. They can touch down. And then exhale, back out. Inhale, touch down. Exhale, lengthen out. Now, if you'd like, you can keep the knees off for a little extra challenge and roll out for 4 more. See if you can keep the ribs lifting up and the sit bones really connecting down, and get those smiles, those grins to happen as you lengthen the legs out. Last one. Land the knees and rest down. Let's take the roller out from under us and then bring the ball back. We're going to start in a child's pose. You can bring your knees together, your arms overhead, and just hold the ball between your hands. Let your hips be heavy to your heels and your ribs be heavy to your thighs. And then we'll roll the ball over to the right side and breathe into that left side. And then we'll roll the ball over to the left side and breathe into the right. And then we'll bring it back through center and then roll it in as we roll up to seated. Okay, we're going to make a switch in our position. We're going to bring the roller back to the mat. We're going to use both props, the ball and the roller. So first off, let's come to the front of the mat with our feet near the top, and then the roller underneath the knees. And then we'll roll our spine to the mat and then bring the hips. Actually, no, let's do the feet on the roller, sorry. And swap things out a little bit. So we're gonna take our feet to the roller. And again, if you have a ball, great. If not, no problem. Putting a prop between the inner thighs to help kind of connect them a little bit more fully. And then we're gonna take our feet to the roller and then maintain that position while we tip the pelvis towards 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. And we'll do that just a few times to feel into that energy flow through the pelvis. And notice the awakening of the back of the legs as you gather your sit bones towards your underside of your knees, and you try to open the hips in the front by drawing your asses up towards your bottom ribs. And then we're going to take that into a bridge. So you're going to start with that same movement, drawing the abdominals in. Sit bones are going to climb up the back of your thighs, and we're going to peel up into a bridge. At the top, hold. See if you can press the shoulders back. While the shoulders press back, can the ribs, rather than rising, sink down a little bit more? And then tipping the pelvis a little bit more towards 12 o'clock. See if you can feel those grins under your buns. And then shoulders open, ribs soft and heavy. We'll try to keep the hips up as we roll the ribs down, rib by rib, vertebra by vertebra, back to the start. We'll take that again, tip the pelvis, peeling up, scoop and curl, press the shoulders back, keep the ribs heavy. They really want to rise here. We're going to just really intend them down. And then tip, sink the ribs, roll back down. And even though the legs are really working and the energy is probably the brightest and loudest down in that region, see if you can really stay committed to pressing the shoulders back into the mat, even while the work is so intense down in the lower half. So shoulders press back, pelvis tilts, ribs heavy, and we're going to add some movement in the roller. Roll it out just a few inches, roll it back in, roll it out, roll it back in, and out, in, 2 more, 1 more, and then roll through, shoulders open, shoulders open, shoulders open, all the way down. Awesome job. So that's some deep work in the hamstrings and perhaps your inner thighs. We could keep the ball there and then take your hands to the back of your head. And then shrug the shoulders down, elbows wide, and we'll just find that opening to the chest we've called a heart flower in the past. We're going to open our heart flower bright and wide, like one of these big spring blooms we have in abundance right now. Nod the chin, sink the bottom ribs to float up. So as you rise up, the flower stays bright and open, and it's as though the stem, your spine, has lifted it as it rises up to catch some extra sunlight, yeah? And then stay there and sink the ribs more, practicing that deepening of your connections. Rather than lifting the head higher, just sink the ribs deeper. Keep the head even a little bit heavy in your hands. And then start to find some energy in the legs. You're going to roll the heels out and then pull them back in. As you roll out, you'll inhale. As you exhale, you'll press into the heels, curl the tail under, and tip the pelvis towards 12 o'clock. Inhale out. Exhale in. Inhale out. Exhale in. Keep going. See if you can sink the ribs deeper as the legs come in. And one more. Pause there. Spin to the right. Reach your left arm across to the outside of your right thigh. And then stay there and do the same move. Inhale the legs out. Exhale, twist a little deeper. Bring the knees in. Inhale out. Exhale, twist and round. And again. 2 more. 1 more. Center. Reach the right arm across, out to the left. Send the roller out just a little ways. Exhale, press down into the roller, bring it in. Use the downward connection of energy down to curl the tail under, lift the tail up. And if you have tension somewhere, it doesn't belong. See if you can redirect it into your abdominals, into your legs. Last one. And then come center and rest down. You can set the ball aside now and bring the roller underneath your hips, setting up for some hip opening and hip mobility. So we'll take the hips up. I'm going to just make a quick swap for the other side of my mat because the sun is coming in my eyes. You guys can carry on. So hips up on the roller. And then you'll bring your knees into your chest. And then we'll take the ball, so don't let it get too far away from you, into this movement as well. So the first thing we're going to do is just draw the knees into the chest and relax the ribs into gravity. And relax this low back into stretch. And then we're going to set the feet, the ball between the ankles, sort of just below that inner ankle bone, your medial malleolus. So you're going to hold the ball there just underneath that and then lengthen the legs up towards the sky. And we're going to use a little bit of fun with the feet for a moment. So you're going to point and flex the feet and see how much movement you can get in your ankle. So where your shin bones meet the foot is something of a hinge. It's a saddle joint, but it's just going to sort of fold in the front and then open in the front. But the rest of your foot has a lot more movement capability. So we're going to try to feel into that with a foot wave. So we're going to start with the feet flexed. We're going to pull all 10 toes back towards our shins, and then keeping the toes back, we're going to press through the ball of the foot, and then at the very end of that, flex the toes. So the whole foot is flexed, like the bottom of your foot is making a little cupped position. And then keep the toes pointed, but draw the tops of your feet back towards your shins. And then repeat that. So you're kind of doing this wave with the feet, getting really active through the feet. Practicing some movement there that's really healthy for the foot and the rest of the body. And then we're going to try to reverse it, which is kind of tricky. So we're going to draw the toes back while the toes are pointed. So the whole foot is pointed, just the toes come back, and then the whole foot comes back, and then flex the toes into that sort of cupped foot bottom, and then reach and pull back. So you might benefit from this, you might not, but you kind of imagine your feet are kind of like dolphins diving through the waves. And if that doesn't work, that's fine. Okay, my feet are feeling really activated. I hope yours are too. Now we're going to take the legs long, and we can have our feet active without movement. We'll point the toes, and then we're going to start to move the legs out down, but before they go away, we want to really connect into our core. So you're going to feel your ribs get heavy as your legs lower, feeling the openness of the front of the hips start to connect into those smiles, those grins at the base of the pelvis, and then lift the legs back up. Exhale, ribs heavy, feel your cheeky grins light up, and inhale back in. Hands can be at the end of the roller and even pressing in to integrate those arms into the trunk. When we turn something on, it can help to release something else that was on that doesn't need to be. So if the arms are actively connected into the trunk, they're less connected to the neck, or they're less active through those lines. Squeeze into those cheeky grins. Reach the legs long. And then let's do a set with the feet flexed. Pull the toes back. Reach and lower. And rise up. And reach. And rise. Just one more. And then let's bring the ball over head and just set it out of the way. Now we get to move into our full range of motion. We'll take the legs on a big circle out to the sides, around, down and together. And repeat, open, circle together. Just as before, sink the ribs while the legs lower to balance out the forces of gravity and energy through the body. One more, and then we'll reverse, circle wide and together. And again. And then bring the knees in, and we'll land the feet down. We're going to come up off of there, lowering the hips down, and then take your feet to the roller once more. Take your hands back behind you, and then we'll take the reaching arms up to the sky, forward to the sides of your legs. Press your heels into the roller. We're going to roll up all the way to seated. Reach towards your toes. Turns out I'm totally crooked, but no worries. It's going to continue. Reach, and then rolling down. Bend the knees. Find your thighs. Reach back. So you're going to repeat rolling up and repeat rolling down. And last one. And then rolling back to the mat. We'll take the legs long, and we're going to turn onto our left side. So keep the right foot on the roller. Turn all the way over to your left side. And we're going to start with the right leg in line with the hips and spine. The bottom knee bent and out of the way. And then we're just going to let the roller come towards us and away a few times with a hip hike. Feeling the top hip scrunch in towards our ribs and then stretch away. And then roll the roller away. So this is as long as it can go. You're reaching through that heel, and you stretch that top waistline, and then hold there and lift and lower. We're not using the roller as much anymore. We're just allowing it to sort of be this marker for our bodies, keeping it away and reaching. And then we're going to take the leg into a turnout, heels towards the earth, toes to the sky. Kick the leg forward and up, and forward and up. And reach through the toes. And last one. And then let's land the foot down. Maybe find the roller, maybe not. We'll roll to the other side. This is just a little quick transition. So just making your way over. I'm just set up just since it's going to save us a little bit on time. You're going to hike the top hip and then reach the heel away. As you do so, finding that space along the left side of your waist, and then scrunch and stretch and scrunch and stretch and reach and hold, and then keep reaching out as you lift and lower on the left. And then we'll take the heel down, toes up, and kick forward and up. And use a little momentum energy to soften the front of your hip where it's folding. That energy of release that comes with a big free kick. Last two, last one, and then lengthen the leg down. You can just push the roller off of the mat, come to your tummy. We're going to place the hands underneath the forehead and then reach the legs long, heels turned in, toes turned out. Press the pubic bone down into the mat and reach the legs so long they float just a little bit off the mat. We're going to squeeze our heels together from the tops of the thighs down. Shift the energy out of your neck, down your waist, into your low abdominals and glutes. Find those grins and the abdominals lifting up to make this powerful but not stressful. And last 3, 2, 1, and rest. Finally, if you have the ball and if you can make this transition, we're going to put the ball between our ankles again, behind us. And I'll admit it's a little bit tricky. From here, we're going to flex the feet and draw the knees in narrow. Press the pubic bone into the mat. And then even without expecting movement here, just know that it doesn't need to be so much of a movement, but a deepening of connection. Pressing your pubic bone into the mat, pressing your heels towards the sky. They don't need to move, but if your low back feels it, we're trying that lift too much. Think about pressing your pubic bone more heavily and using those glutes, the grins, cheeky grins, blazing. Last 2, last 1, and then release. Okay. Let's take our hands underneath the shoulders, push up. Find your way to all fours. And then make yourself sort of nearer the top of the mat. We'll lift up out of the hands. We'll step the right foot back into our plank position. Reaching through the heels, lift the bottom ribs, stretch the left leg back, and find some of that connection to your cheeky grins. At the same time, you lift your abdominals and stretch out long through the spine. And then we're going to take the right foot and float it off of the mat, and then bring the right knee towards your right elbow, reach it back, bring it to the left elbow, bring it back, bring it center around the spine, and then lift the leg up and back and find your way into this 3-legged dog. And then we'll circle the leg all the way around to the side, bring it home. Take your hips forward to plank, pressing your pubic bone forward, pressing the tops of your thighs back. And then we'll take the left side, float the foot, knee to the outside left elbow, bring it back. Knee to the right, bring it back. Knee to the center, lift the bottom ribs round, and then reach the leg up and back to your 3-legged dog, and then circle it all the way around and back to the mat. Walk your feet and hands towards one another. Soft knees always allowed. Release into a forward fold with that softness to the knees so your low back can really fall into gravity. And then deepen the bend, lower your hips down towards your heels, reach the arms forward, hover the bottom ribs off of the thighs, finding a low squat. Sit your hips a little lower, lift your heart and ribs a little higher, and then roll to your toes if you're feeling adventurous, and hold there for a few. And then we'll just take it up to standing slowly, thoughtfully, energetically. Reach to the sky, and then reach your heels to the earth. Circle the arms all the way back by your sides. We're gonna just unwind a little bit by swinging the arms around our center, letting the energy of power and strength become more fluid, less solid. And then take that to the sides into a big circle. We'll take the arms up to the sky, place the palms together at the top, and feel the integration of your arms through the outside of your arms into your center. And then pull your heart up to meet your hands and arrive and pause in that stillness to just appreciate the energy of your body. Perhaps you are closing your eyes to feel into it, and just noticing what's shifted and what's different today or this moment after movement. And then you can open your eyes. And I thank you very much for joining me. Awesome work, guys. Thanks for joining me in class. May the force be with you. And if you have any feedback for me, comments, any questions at all, just go ahead and leave them in the comments below. If you would like to contact me more directly, you can find me through my website at arwenbrook.com. And if you aren't already following me on Instagram, you can do so at arwenbrook_Pilates. All right, thank you and have a wonderful day.